welcome to another session with Get Me Wed. I'm Dashani, and today we'll be interviewing Karusha from Henna by Karusha so that she can explain to us everything to do with bridal henna so that it empowers you as the bride and the audience to make the right decisions and to certainly understand what is required before you choose your henna artist and what's required on your big day. So welcome, Karusha.
Hi, Tishani. Thank you so much.
I want you to know that Karusha, in my personal experience, has been an extremely reliable and friendly personality. And that's the reason that I wanted to interview with her today. She has done one of our beautiful brides whose wedding took place in April this year. And if there's one thing I remember about working with Karusha, and I think certainly as a social media page can stand testament through, is that she's not just a henna artist or mehndi artist that does things by the fly. There is a lot of work and preparation that goes into her art and her skill. And that is largely why I reached out to her and I said, you know, Karusha, I need you on board so that brides understand just how much of work that you get done on the back end. And so I think, you know, with that, Karusha, can we maybe just understand, how did you enter the mehndi field?
Sure. Thank you so much for inviting me on this interview. So a little background about me. I was a fashion designer before I started. So designing and drawing is my forte. So what happened was I actually stopped with the fashion designing because I had kids. So it was very, very difficult to work with kids and doing dresses because not only was I designing, I was also sewing the garments. So I kind of stopped that and I decided to look into something else that I can still design, do drawing as, like I said, it's part of my passion. And I picked up a cone, started doing some mehndi on my sister. That's how it started. And I was like, okay, let's just play around. It was for Diwali. We started doing that. And then eventually I started getting a few clients where I started putting a few small, simple designs on them. Eventually my one friend got married and she's like, hey, why don't you give bridal mehndi a shot? And I was like, oh, I'm not gonna lie, I was scared. I was like, okay, I'm used to doing the small dainty designs and stuff, but not something hectic as bridal. And she's like, give it a shot, I'll be your first bride. I was like, okay, great. I did that and posted pics and it just spread word of mouth like wildfire.
Oh my goodness, that is so inspiring. I feel like I can totally relate on so many points. I think the one being motherhood, because motherhood challenges us as a woman. It certainly is initially very hard to establish who we are after we become moms and what we are in the sense of a profession after we've got these little ones to look after, in the sense of flexibility. And, you know, I think that it's so encouraging that, you know, as a mom, you've now found a new skill with your like fashion background that you can now take and just add to your list of services. It's so encouraging for other women out there. So well done.
Thank you. Yes, true. It's very versatile. I'm not gonna lie. So you know, I can do pretty much both. But I'm just gonna like ease up on the fashion for now until my kids are a little bigger before I get back into it again.
Absolutely, absolutely. Karusha, I think a lot of brides, when they are embarking on the wedding planning process, they want to know about the significance of each particular ritual or step. And henna has been one that has sort of like followed so many different cultures. And I noticed that it's also started to sort of find its way within Western cultures. So can you maybe just help the audience understand, you know, what is the purpose of mehndi for a bridal ceremony?
Okay, so as you said, it is part of the rituals. It's to beautify the bride. So a little background on that as well. In the old days in India, when a bride is getting married, especially the lower class, they didn't have jewelry or anything to help beautify the bride on her wedding day. So they would put mehndi. That's why today mehndi looks so much like jewelry on the bride's hands. So that was one of it.
Sense.
It is. And so they used Mehndi to beautify the bride. It's also to bring joy and happiness, and there's also medicinal benefits that comes with Mehndi.
Yes.
So the Mehndi has cooling and healing effects. So as we all know, with weddings, there is a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of stress on brides and grooms. So with this Mehndi process, what happens is it cools it has those cooling effects where it cools the brides down and brings her nervous system to like just cool and calm down.
Okay.
And that's why they say it's got healing abilities and stuff. It helps relax the bride from all the stress she has been experiencing through the whole process of planning.
Karusha, I can totally relate to that. I do remember being a bride and really wanting to have and host a Mehndi night, because it was certainly the most fun. It had a lot of music. It was, just a celebration. And I think that the process of just having to be there and not do anything else, just be in the moment, watch yourself get adorned by the Mehndi, is so therapeutic on so many levels. Granted, today's brides are afforded the luxury of Netflix and YouTube and company, and I think it just makes it all the more precious. So I 100% agree with that. I wanted to ask you, for a bride that's looking to get her Mehndi done with you, what is the process of preparation? Is there anything they're supposed to be doing to their hands or their feet beforehand until you actually come and apply the Mehndi?
Okay, so usually there is a process, definitely. I usually send them a little like a little info, how can I put it, like a little info card. Okay. Basically stating like the pre-K, what obviously during the Mehndi application, what to do and what not to do, and also the information of aftercare. Yeah. So basically you got to keep your hands nice and clean, no lotions, no liquids, no creams. Also, if you're going to be doing waxing or laser hair removal, tanning, depending on any treatments that they're going to be doing, it has to be 2 days prior to the Mehndi application. Your skin needs to be healed. It needs to be clean. Yes. Before I come.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, so what happens is if it's done on the day of the application, the staining becomes patchy. You'll see some brides have it like a dark piece here, then a very light piece here, then a dark piece there. It's like all different colors all of a sudden.
Yes.
It just doesn't look great. So that's why I say, please do the pre-K before I do come. During the Mehndi as well, I also advise brides that, when I come, make sure that your hands are extremely dry. There's nothing like a barrier that's acting for obviously the Mehndi not to stick. Okay. So that's what I usually tell them as well. Also, please sit still. I don't feel like being a bossy or anything, but it helps if you sit still. Imagine you taking a piece of paper and writing on floating air. I mean, like literally take a pen, put it on your hand and start writing. It's not going to be neat.
It's going to be hard.
So yeah, make sure you got a table there as well, where your hands are relaxed on as well.
It will make it easier for
basically both all that's written in my little info kit thing.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and then obviously there is also all the aftercare information. It's quite a process. It's quite a process for me. Yeah, so these when they do contact me, I do give them all this information before we start.
Okay, so I like how you empower the brides, because then there's a minimal risk of them not being happy with the output of exactly what your Mehndi application is. So I think that's phenomenal, because you definitely are trying your best to empower them. I need to ask you a personal question here. Wax or no wax for hands? I mean, I'm pretty sure back in the day they didn't have waxing as an option, but I mean, what's your take on it after having so much of experience in the industry?
So it's usually preference thing instead of a necessity.
Yes.
But if I were to choose, I would obviously say wax off,
Okay.
like wax,
Okay.
obviously
Just
wax
saying,
the hands, because
brides, now
obviously
you
it's a
know.
nice, clean, yeah, nice clean canvas to work with. I mean, if you know you're quite
Right.
hairy, it does interfere with the henna application.
Yes.
It does smudge the henna. It's
Yes.
very difficult, and then it doesn't look neat. Because obviously of all the smudging that happens.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, I
Okay.
don't want to tell you guys to go out there and go and get wax, but it's like I said, it's a
Just
preference
an
thing.
FYI. Yeah, no, I think it's so important because everyone then is aware. I want to know, what is trending in the henna world at the moment? If a bride comes to you not knowing what she wants, what would you recommend?
So I would recommend floral. You don't go wrong with floral. It
Okay.
is trending.
Yes,
Um,
in bridal
it,
attire as well.
on the bridal attire as well, exactly. Floral everywhere.
Yes.
So any type of floral. I mean, there's peonies, there's roses, there's daisies, any type of floral that's trending. Also bold
Ah,
designs are trending. Reason why I'll tell you is because what happens is when a bride chooses that fine detail, which there's nothing wrong, guys, nothing wrong with taking the fine detail, but just remember, on the design of the fresh mehndi, it looks absolutely gorgeous. But you got to remember, on your wedding day, your fresh mehndi is not going to look like that. It's going to be a
yeah,
stain. It's going to be that
yeah.
orangey brown stain. So what looks great in fresh mehndi doesn't look great and doesn't transpire well on a stain. So I would advise, go bold. It just looks better in your photos. Um, when you take, you'll see wedding photos when they take. You want your hand to show, okay, oh my God, look at that detail of her mehndi. It's actually
Yes.
coming through that photos of hers. Whereas fine, intricate, that whole design just gets lost. It gets
Okay,
completely lost. It looks like the bride's hand is like orange. People can't really see the detail.
I
So
got
keep
you.
in mind, yeah, keep in mind when choosing designs, go with the bolder designs. It just looks great in photos.
Thanks so much for that. Karusha, COVID is still upon us. And, many nights are now moving away from what we knew typically to be just you and the bride to back to these, massive events. What's your COVID policy with brides?
So I still wear my mask, and I always ask my brides to please wear their mask as well. Um, Also, when we're doing bridal mehndi, I prefer no guests allowed.
Okay.
No guests near her. It's just one-on-one. This creates a stress-free environment
Yes.
for both of us. Also, guests tend to come and hug the bride, kiss the bride while she's getting her mehndi on. And this
Oh,
creates so
amazing.
much distraction.
Yes.
And the bride doesn't actually realize that, because she thinks her hand is still while I'm
Yes.
busy. But naturally, if you're turning to hug a person or kiss a person, you are moving. We don't want that. It just creates a lot
Absolutely.
of shakiness in the design and a lot of smudges in the design.
Yes.
So I always tell them, if you're having a mehndi day or mehndi night, depending, rather do your mehndi as early as possible. Do
Oh,
it in
that's
the
such good
morning
advice.
before the guests arrive.
Yes.
That way your design just looks crisp and neat. Also, with small or large events, mehndi nights, weddings, even corporate events, I do. I also tell them, with the COVID policy, please, I just need a table and just two chairs, one for me and one for the person that I'm going to be doing the mehndi on, like
Yes.
at the mehndi night. It needs to be placed away from the crowd because of COVID. And second of all, people tend to party. They like all dancing and all over the place. I'm
Yes.
busy with somebody's mehndi. I mean, if they get up
Hard
all
to
of a sudden, they
concentrate.
knock into somebody, the mehndi is smudged. It's not something you can really fix. Everyone
Yes.
thinks, can you just please just wipe it off and reapply? you can't do that because it's already starting to stain.
Stain,
When,
yes.
if you apply over that, it just,
It
the
doesn't look
next
the same.
day, the stain doesn't look good. It just
I'm
doesn't
with
look
you.
good.
I'm so with you. As a wedding planner, I've often told my brides that sometimes a handy tool to have is you do your Mehndi the day before or the night before, and then when your guests are coming, you at least able to interact with them and have the conversation, go and party, go and dance, but you're not having to worry about being like keeping your hands up and worrying about anyone smudging you. And I think certainly having your Mehndi applied earlier on in the day is something I did, and I felt it was so helpful because you can actually then get more time with your guests during your Mehndi night. So definitely agree with you there.
Yes, definitely. Just saying again on that, usually on a Mehndi night or the Mehndi day, the mom and the sister they also want to be part of the Mehndi, they also want a Mehndi design. So I always advise brides, book your Mehndi and your mom and sister's Mehndi a day before your Mehndi event.
Okay.
That way mom and sister gets their Mehndi done as well. I've been to so many events where I've done the bride the morning, and the mom and them like, okay, I'll do it just now, and then the Mehndi function starts. And then all of a sudden she is busy with all the guests. Then the sister's also busy with all the guests.
Yes.
And they're like, no, don't worry, just do them. I'll come back.
And it never gets to
whatever.
them.
And then the mom and the sister lose out.
Yeah.
Or if they do manage to put on something, they're like, oh, just something small because I'm still busy working. And it's not fair on them as well. Because I mean, they family, they close family, they're gonna be on stage. So think about it as well. To the brides, think about it, plan it a day before, let them have their chance to also de-stress, and let them have a design as well, and then I can come and do the guest.
I think that's such a nice suggestion. Also, if you are a guest, would you take the initiative and encourage the host of the event to go and have their turn while you maybe go and help them do whatever you want, or to at least help where they need assistance, so that they get their opportunity. Hey, do what a good guest would do.
That's true, but let's be honest, how many do that? Yes, it's not just, also I won't put the pressure on the guest, but as a mom of the bride, you would want that function to go off well. So technically, she's gonna want to be like, no, it's fine, don't stress. Like I said, just do your mom and your sister a favor, book the day before so they can enjoy the Mehndi night as well. They're gonna be working, so
Karusha, can I be a bit cheeky and say that, what, for all the moms and sisters and the sister-in-laws who want to get their Mehndi applied, consider also having an event planner so that you can sit back and enjoy your function while good vendors like yourself and myself are able to assist. So I know that's a bit of a cheeky comment, but no, I 100% get where you're coming from, because it happens ever so often, and it's shame. It is quite sad, because I think that a lot of thought and effort and everything, energy goes into planning a wedding, and then it is so sad when a mom and a sister and the family come and they're not able to do everything that they want to, because they're trying to get everything else done. So I get you. I get you.
So I mean, just think about it also. So on the right side.
Absolutely.
And then also
Yes, carry on.
Okay, so usually with bridal henna, the bride wants to also participate in the function. So a little background on Mehndi night as well, or Mehndi day. I've noticed what's trending is actually Mehndi days, not Mehndi nights. So they don't have the function anymore in the night. They're having it during the day, which is really, really great. Obviously, if your guests can take off from work to come enjoy the Mehndi day with you, it's also very nice way. But for the bride herself also, give yourself that time to relax. Give yourself that time, it's you, like a day spa. That's basically what your Mehndi is. It's like a spa. You sit, you're gonna relax and put your Mehndi on. You don't want your guests there interrupting, or you seeing your guest enjoying and you want to partake as well, and all of a sudden you're smudging your Mehndi. No, so So when you're planning, make sure that you take all of this into consideration. Because I
Absolutely.
know the old style was, I have to get my Mehndi done on my Mehndi night while my guests are there. No, you
Gone are
don't need
those.
to do that.
Gone are
You
those
can
nights.
partake in your Mehndi night,
Yes,
And
absolutely. And I
also
think it's good advice.
yeah, and the guests don't want to just come there and watch the bride get Mehndi for like 5-6 hours. They're gonna get bored. They're gonna start partaking, doing their own thing, you know.
Yes.
So, because the Mehndi night is basically for them to come and enjoy getting Mehndi done for themselves as well.
Selves,
That's pretty much
yes.
what Mehndi night is. It's
Yes.
not them coming, sitting there and getting, oh, we're gonna just watch this bride get her Mehndi done,
It
No,
sort
it's
of
not
loses
about
its
that anymore.
social component. I get you.
Yeah.
And I think for the brides out there that are maybe just in the planning stage of their Mehndi days or Mehndi nights, think about that. Think about, the guest experience, because I think that's often, what is in consideration, whether you're having a small or intimate function or whether you're having a very large one. It's certainly an important factor. Karusha, I want to ask you, for a bride that's getting her henna done, and we know it's going to be a couple of hours, do you prefer quiet or do you prefer chatty?
Oh, this is a little bit difficult. So I myself am not a chatty person.
Okay.
So I would prefer quiet, because then, like I'm just there and I'm getting my work done, focused. Yes. But it does create a little bit of like awkwardness. Because there's like no conversation going on there.
Yeah.
So I don't mind getting to know the bride getting to know me, like a little subtle conversation going. Yeah, I don't mind that. But like full going on like hectic conversation trends where the bride's all of a sudden like moving arms and, like, I don't know how to explain it.
Yes.
But yeah,
very passionate about conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would rather prefer not chatty.
Okay.
Yeah, just because we want to get that design out as neat as possible.
Side question: what is the most interesting thing a bride has done while getting her Mehndi applied, in your experience?
Sleep.
When did this happen? And for how long? I need to master this art.
Oh my gosh. So I was doing her feet and she was super, super tired. She's like, I'm just going to lay on the bed. And she passed out while I was doing it. That was the most shocking, I would say, for me.
You were just tapping her to make sure everything was okay.
I was like, okay, like trying to keep the legs apart. She mustn't move. She doesn't smile.
Yes. Oh, yes, we forget in sleep. We don't know that we need to be peaceful. Oh, that must have been so interesting.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my goodness.
I wouldn't advise that though. I know it's relaxing, but I wouldn't advise sleeping. No.
Maybe not sleeping. I've often told my brides that, now we have got things like Netflix and YouTube, and, you've always got your streaming channels available to you. I've always said, maybe just make use of it. Watch a really nice movie that's uplifting,
yes.
Maybe something that's familiar to you. There are so many different options available. I think you could get done with a whole season of something new as well, if you really want to.
I agree. And that way it keeps that awkwardness of silence.
Yes.
And I can just focus on the Mehndi while she is sitting still and relaxed. I agree on that.
To actually keep your mind in. Okay, well, that's good. That's good to know. I want to understand, if brides want to get in touch with you, what is your sort of like, notice period? You're very busy. So how far in advance do you think that they should?
Very busy. That is a good question. So as soon as you know your date, your wedding date, please contact all vendors, I would say. Because obviously the first thing, you're going to go to the priest, you're going to get your wedding date. So you already know your priest is already booked. And your second thing is venue. So you're going to book your venue. And then it's makeup artist, hairstylist, and henna artist. Please, guys, don't leave us for the last. They tend to leave us for the last. I get so many brides contacting me literally a week or 2 weeks before the Mehndi night. I'm already booked. I am fully booked. I get brides that have been booking me anywhere between 6 months to a year in advance.
Yes.
So and most of my clients have already booked me a year in advance. They have come, they've met me, we have done and discussed the whole designs and booked completely. So yes, there is a 60% deposit to book me. And once it's booked, I cannot change it.
Yes.
I can only change unless obviously the client has contacted me and says, okay, you know what, this has happened. Unfortunately, we need to postpone the date. I'll be like, okay, not a problem. We can postpone. Then only I might have an availability, but chances of that happening hasn't. Yeah, it's very slim. It's very hard.
And I think I wanted to emphasize with our brides today that, you know, the reason I got in touch with Karusha is because I had seen the amount of effort that Karusha puts into the henna work that she does. So, you know, when she meets her clients, she's understanding about the bridal attire that you're wearing. She's trying to take designs from there. She's trying to replicate it for your henna art. And so that takes time and skill and preparation. And so when you're paying for a Mehndi artist, you're not just paying for the day. I think there's a famous Instagram song going on around, you know, where, you know, you're not just paying for the day, you're actually paying for, you know, the time and the skill.
The time, yes, I've seen that one.
And certainly the preparation beforehand. And so I think, you know, for the brides out there who want a henna artist like Karusha, who does this sort of like, you know, preparation and puts in the amount of effort, you need to be willing to, you know, go with her terms and conditions of booking her far in advance so that you're able to get the quality of work that you see with her, not to discount the fact. And you have to admit, Karusha, there are a lot of henna artists out there that are really good henna artists and are able to, you know, go by the fly, sort of use their own creativity on the day, but don't expect it to mirror the sort of like replicating things in the outfits and doing it perfectly, because that takes a lot of preparation in the back end. It cannot be expected on the day.
That's true. So what I do offer is, if you are in the area, there is a complimentary consultation that I can book with you. You come through, you discuss everything that you like in your Mehndi. You know, some brides, they just like, okay, I like this picture, I want it as is. Okay, just remember, I'm not a photocopy machine, so it can't be as is. So yeah, but most brides, they like, oh, okay, you know what, I like this idea, I like that idea. We take little elements from each design, put them together. At the consultation, we discuss everything from you know, like designing something unique. You know, I would say, like, just say if a bride is a doctor and she wants a little stethoscope, we can do something personalized. Or if you like something like dogs, cats, elephants, whatever it is, you know, we can put something in there as well. You can put something that maybe like where you got proposed, or where you're going on honeymoon. You know, you can put anything in your Mehndi. I don't think a lot of brides actually go to the extent of thinking of all of these ideas. But, you know, obviously coming, meeting me, discussing all of this, I give you these ideas, and, you know, and we come up with something unique and different. You know, it's putting all what you like into your Mehndi design. Yeah, and then after we have discussed everything, I start drawing it up for them. And then I'll send them a picture and say, okay, this is exactly what your design is going to look like. And they'll be like, okay, yeah, they love it. Most of them go with it offhand, first design. Some will be like, okay, you know, can we take this particular detail out and maybe just add this detail or a little saying or something. So, you know, there is room to chop and change as well. What I also like, when you meet me, obviously, like 6 to 8 months in advance, I don't like to really tell brides to change their design, but yes, you do have that time. That 6 months, anything can happen. I mean, from a person that loves coffee to all of a sudden loves dogs. They're like, okay, I don't want this little latte design in my mehndi. Let's put a little puppy rather,
Oh,
anything can happen, obviously. So you have some room to change. I give you up at least a week before your mehndi day to change your design. I
wow.
wouldn't change a lot, but yeah, I'm not one of those artists who are like, this is it, that's gonna be done.
You're
No, there
so
is room to,
accommodating.
yeah, there is room for that, and I don't mind. So, but that's why we have a lot of room to play around. Don't leave for last minute.
Agreed.
Don't pick up the phone and be like, are you available for next week, and expect me to perform miracles all of a
Chances are
sudden.
it's not going to happen.
No.
I 100% agree. I think for a lot of artists and contributors in the wedding industry, it's really hard to put things together last minute. You at the mercy of whichever vendor is available then, and so that is the reality. Karusha, tell us what do you have envisioned for 2022, 2023 for your brand? Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I would love to expand, not just doing bridal henna. I would love to do henna canvases.
Nice.
I have posted one or two. There's also henna letters, this little canvas letters that you can use pretty much anywhere in parcels, like wedding trays or even decor for setting tables and stuff at your mehndi night or your wedding.
Yes.
I don't want to like say a lot too much, because obviously it's more surprise for everyone. So whenever I post,
Phenomenal.
you'll be like, oh my God, something different, something unique.
I'm so
So yeah,
proud.
just watch,
No,
watch
but
this
I'm
space.
so proud. You're taking your skill and you're sharing with everybody exactly how you can apply to different like mediums so that they're able to use those at their actual functions and keep it as a memory, as a keepsake item. So well done.
Thank you.